Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thomas Carter Rochester, aka Thor, son of Dale.
And my name is David Thompson, aka Peter Parker's wannabe best friend. And this is Lights,
Thunder,
Action. Alright, Thomas. Well, it's the first episode. Thanks for being here. This is great.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, David. Welcome, myself, to Lights, Thunder, Action, episode 1.
Yes, we have a great episode. Hopefully a little better than the Phantom Menace. But, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I'm glad we're able to do this. This is exciting. I know we've been wanting to do some sort of podcast. I mean, we've been friends just by talking to each other about what we're going to talk about on this podcast. That's how basically our friendship really grew, because we can just talk for hours and hours about Marvel and Star Wars and just movies in general.
Lots of opening shifts at the gym that were revolved around Marvel and geeking out.
Oh, yeah.
Those 5
That's what we're going to do here.
Yeah. Except it's not 5 a.m. Blessed be the Lord's.
Yes. Good thing. But yeah, I'm excited. This is exciting. It's a Saturday, feeling good, even though I'm trapped in my house and with everything going on. I'm just excited we're still able to do this and that technology is letting us.
Technology is letting us. So what have you been working on recently?
Well, I've had schoolwork. We're working on, I have a senior design. I'm a senior, so we have a senior design project, and I'm in the comm department. So at Florida Tech, where I go to school, it's a documentary, and it's about last season in 2019. Florida Tech cut the women's golf team, and then they ended up, they weren't cut for that season, but in the next season they were going to be cut. So they knew at the beginning of the year it was going to be their last season, and they ended up winning the national championship. Woo! So that's what a documentary's on. And yeah, it's a pretty sick story. We're getting it going. It's just like this. It's a challenge with over the interwebs and stuff, but it's better than if we didn't have it. It's making it a lot easier in these times where we have to be apart, that we have these tools available to us. Yes. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, just avoiding schoolwork and making some TikToks and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. They're pretty funny.
How about you, Thomas? What have you been up to?
I've been editing videos, Thor watches, Thor talks too. Been recently doing a lot of work for CyberCon 2020, April 17th from noon Eastern until 56 hours straight later, April 19th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have guests, panels, cosplay contest, us, yours truly, Lights, Thunder, Action podcast. We're going to be there live at 2:15 Eastern Standard Time.
We'll get back to you with the exacts.
I should know this, but I'm jumping time zone, so I might have messed up an hour in my head.
Right.
Yeah, so that's been exciting. Got some exciting news that'll be dropping next week that I've been a part of and helping bring together, which is very exciting. It's very exciting.
Yes. Yeah, sounds good. I'm super excited for CyberCon. That's another thing. It's just going to be awesome that we're still able to do that, and it should be a super cool event. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes, and the best part of it all is you get to go to a convention. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to wear pants, which I'm not going to wear pants, so there's that. In case you're wondering, you'll see me from the chest up for a reason. But really, it's all for charity. It's going to the Center for Disaster Philanthropy's COVID-19 Response Fund. All money that we make from the vendors' fee that it is, it's all going straight to the philanthropy. And any money that we have donated to us is also going to the philanthropy. We do have a goal. I don't know if they want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our goal is to have at least $5,000 that we donate to this. And we're hoping that with the potential of reaching about, currently we have potential to reach out to about 600,000 or 700,000 people during this live stream, just from the people who are involved in their networks. So we're hoping that we can get some views and get some donations, because it's a telethon style Comic-Con. So really, I'm calling it a Comic-Thon. And very excited, very blessed to be invited to help co-host and bring our podcast to the world live for episode 3, Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds, that's a good name.
Yeah, let's somebody write that down.
Yeah. Real quick.
So,
All right, so we want to get to the news, or we?
yeah, so we're gonna hop right into our first segment here on Lights Thunder Action, and it is What the News?
So basically, during What the News, we're gonna talk about what's going on, and this is our first episode, so we're gonna have a little bit of a catching up to do. But despite movie theaters being closed and basically no movies happening right now except for on streaming and whatnot, there's still a ton of news, basically because of that. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So first thing today, I kind of want to start with the smaller news and then work our way up to the bigger stuff. There's just a few items I want to talk about. But the first one is AMC possibly being in some financial trouble. So I know me personally, and I think you too still, are
Yes.
AMC A-list members. And for you guys that don't know out there, AMC A-list, I love it. It's kind of a byproduct of what happened with MoviePass. And if you guys don't know about MoviePass, it was the subscription service where you'd pay $10 a month, at least when I signed up, and you could basically go see one movie per day, and you paid $10 a month, and it was awesome. And you go to any movie theater, and you just had this this red card. I think I still have mine somewhere, and it was awesome. And it was,
not.
What's that?
I definitely do not. I cut mine up as soon as they started charging more. I was like, bye bye.
Yeah, I think mine's still in my my wallet actually. I think it's almost like it's like a keepsake.
It's a relic from a bygone era.
It really is. And so AMC A-list came out, and there's also like Regal Unlimited, but I don't have a Regal near me. Like the AMC, near me in Melbourne is that nice IMAX theater, and it's just like perfect,
Right around the corner.
Yeah, and so they made AMC A-list after, they saw what MoviePass did. MoviePass went under because it really had no like plan for its finances. It was a complete disaster,
Well, its plan was to mine our data, and they thought that was gonna do something.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah, no, and they also thought they were gonna be able to get theaters to spend to give them money. They basically went to like the big chains like AMC, Regal, and were like, hey, these people wouldn't be coming to the movie theater if it wasn't for us. You should give us like a portion of your earnings. And the theaters laughed at them. They laughed at them and then made their own product. So AMC A-list is $20 a month, or it's a little over $20 I think now, but it's around
22
there.
and change.
Yeah. So you spend that per month, and it's 3 movies per week. I've loved it. Unlike MoviePass, in MoviePass you couldn't repeat movies, and IMAX was an upcharge. But with AMC A-list, it can be an upcharge, or like not an upcharge. You can do IMAX. You can repeat whatever. You can see whatever movie you want. Like you could see the same movie 3 times, like Endgame 3 times, like I did in 2 days. Actually, I'm trying to remember what I think when I had MoviePass, I saw The Last Jedi 3 times in 24 hours. I somehow finessed that.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Anyway, because I didn't know what to make of that film, I still don't know. And that's not the topic for today, but it will be a topic for one day.
Yes. That'll be a whole day's topic.
Literally.
We will fight to the death.
So anyway, AMC. So back to what's happening with AMC today is that they're not. I'm getting this article from Deadline. Is that they are running the risk of running out of cash by midsummer, and the AMC. I think the CEO has already said that he doesn't think theaters will reopen in June, so they could be in some real deep trouble. This quote says, "We expect AMC Entertainment theaters will remain closed beyond June due to the impact of the global coronavirus pandemic. We do not believe AMC has sufficient resources of liquidity to cover its expected negative cash flows past midsummer, and we believe the company will likely breach." So,
June.
I mean, this is terrible news for me. Like, what does this mean? And this is AMC. Like, this is one of the bigger theaters. What about the smaller theaters? Like, it's terrible because I'm one of those people. I know you are too, and I'll let you, talk about this in a second.
Yeah.
But I love the theater experience. Like, I don't want all these movies just to go to streaming. I like to go in the theater. I like to be around people and have that shared experience and be in the big screen and get popcorn and hang out and make an event of it, not just no distractions. And this is just disheartening. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I actually love going to the theater because that was rare for me growing up. when my dad was growing up, he had to go to the theater, and he hated doing that. He still hates doing that.
Yeah.
But we grew up watching movies on TV all the time. I watched so many B movies that I didn't know they were B movies, and it's cultivated my love for films and filmmaking and all of that. I always wanted to know how'd they do that, how'd they pull that off, what'd they do to make this happen.
Right.
And it's grown into, me becoming an actor and a filmmaker and some regard. I don't want to toot my horn, but I try.
Right.
No, I do. It's just not as good as Yoda can.
But it lit that passion.
It lit the passion, and so going to the theater was a literal event. The first movie I ever saw in theaters was Toy Story. The second movie was Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and the third movie, if I'm remembering right, outside of Sneaking into Species when I was 7 and becoming completely destroyed from that movie, was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That was like the biggest event movie that I got to go see in theaters.
Right.
And that was a whole, like, that was the only movie my dad would guarantee to go see in the theaters every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoyed all that stuff. But if older generations want to equate the theater experience to Star Wars, understandably, it was a unique experience. But our generation, we're going to equate it to Endgame.
Yeah.
Just opening night of Endgame.
Yeah.
Being there. I didn't know a single person in that theater. But you walk in, you sit down, and there's a literal electricity in the air. And as the old son of daylight, I always find the electricity. Even if it means I stick my finger in an outlet. Don't do it, children. But we sit down and something like we're counting down the time on our watch, and it goes 5 minutes before they even start the previews over, and we're like, this is BS, we're tired of waiting, and the lights go down, everyone cheers, and there will never be another moment in history than when Cap wields Mjolnir and the entire theater erupts, and it sounded and felt like being in Doak Campbell Stadium watching a Florida State game, having a big play happen, and all of a sudden you're oh, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm going to break you. Just Thor yells when he says Avengers Assemble, and I'm like, yeah!
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like those experiences, like you don't get that sitting at home watching something on streaming. Like that moment, the hammer moment, the Thor lands in Wakanda moment, even the end of Infinity. Okay, yeah, full spoilers for any previous MCU movies, basically any MCU movie.
All the spoiler alert, obviously.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, even the moment in Infinity War when Peter dusts away, like, it doesn't have to be a triumphant moment. It can be a sad moment, Then there's that shared experience where I was hearing, I'm sure casual fans behind me can be like, no, like, what's going on? Like, they didn't know that this was supposed to be like a part 1, and people leaving the theater in Infinity War upset, being like, what the heck was that? That's not what I thought I signed up for. And and me sitting there trying to explain to my girlfriend, like, no, like, it's, this is a 2-part story, like, this is not the end, like, being upset that that's that it ended, because the movie ends badly, but it's a masterpiece in my opinion, and
oh, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
so good.
And just, I think what you're saying with how it's, for some, like, older people it'd be Star Wars and for us it'd be Endgame, I think just the MCU in general, I think the hype they build, how the Thursday nights have become such a thing in the last, like, 5 to 10 years, where before, like, a Thursday night was only, like, a midnight special kind of deal, like, back in, like, when the prequels for Star Wars came out, like, it was, like, you had to go, like, at actually midnight, not, like, 5:30 p.m. On a Thursday.
Even the beginning of the MCU was like that. I think the first time I got to go to an early showing was Avengers 1. It was the first time they had, at least to my knowledge, an like 7 p.m. Ooh, I might even be wrong on that. I think I went to the midnight showing. No, they had early ones. I had to study for an exam.
Yeah.
That's what my issue was. I had an exam going on. College. So yeah, like, even through, and then after about that point, they're like, we can't handle this influx. Let's do more showings. And now they make bank from 7 to midnight. It's just mad.
Yeah, it's I love how they even like keep track of like the Thursday night opening numbers, because I'm all into like the box office and keeping track of the box office, and now it's not a thing, and now with AMC leaving, they could really like this is going to have a like drastic effect, and we'll see, you know, maybe there'll be some government involvement, but this is just not good news. And I think, in my opinion, our next news is talking about the movies and their delays and what that means and everything like that. But I think this news with AMC and possible, you know, this is just news about AMC, but possible other theaters going under and, you know, having difficulty. This could really be the more long-lasting effect of this whole pandemic on cinema.
Yes, and I agree. I was hoping that they'd be open around May, but
that's not
with
happening.
The lack of effort that has gone on, I'm choosing my words carefully here. With the lack of swift and just response by government officials, by, you know, for me personally, I'm just gonna say it. I think everyone should just be tested. Not everyone's gonna get sick, but guess what? Those people carry it, infect someone else. That person dies. That person who had it, they should know that they have that so they can self-isolate.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just being common sense, efficient. How do you protect everyone? You test everyone.
Right.
And now everyone's an essential employee here in Florida, and it's like, okay, so none of us can be tested because shout out to the budget cuts of Florida. And not only that, but we are literally all still working, pretty much.
A lot of people are.
If it's important for the economy, which is, you know, food, housing, industrial, all that stuff, like my entire, pretty much almost all civil engineers or any engineering field is going to be working because it's considered essential in some fashion based on their broad spectrum of what's an essential employee. And it says work from home if you can. There are so many that I know where I live. We don't work from home. We're boots on ground kind of engineers. We're going to sites. We're doing this. We're doing that. We are contractors. We're working with contractors. So we can't. There's no such thing as working from home, because you're just going to get called to go to the job site. And what's the point in staying at home when you got to leave 20 minutes later and then get back home and then leave 20 minutes later? It's inefficient.
Yep. I'm just hoping that we can get it going, flatten the curve, get people isolated, tested, all that, and just get things back to normal as soon as possible. And even if but we can't get impatient. We can't be saying like, oh, I don't care about this anymore. I'm gonna go live my life. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of isolation. I think people might tend to do that because people could get a little, stir crazy just sitting at home all day. And I just need, I'm just telling people basically, stay home when you can. If you're an essential worker, thank you. Like, please keep doing your job. If you're especially in like the medical field, like, we really thank you.
Facts.
Like,
big facts.
Yeah. So
that's true essential workers right there. Not,
Yeah, exactly. And just if you can, it's not just for like just because you want to, like, this is you got to be selfless right now. Like, you got to stay home. Like, even if you get sick and you'll be okay, like, that's not what it's about. It's just about not making this whole thing spread. So stay home for now, but hopefully these theaters will be back at some point. We can all go hang out in the theater and scream again at Captain America.
Yeah.
All right, so our next bit of news. So the next big chunk is basically all these movies now that were supposed to come out over the next 4 months basically, or 3 months, that have now been pushed back. And there's a lot of different wrinkles.
Years.
Yeah, literally. There's a lot of different wrinkles. I kind of want to get into a few of them. I'm going to start with like the non-MCU movies, because I know, like, I think we're going to hit MCU as like a big topic. And then there's some other little things I wanted to kind of throw in here. So just to name off a few that have been delayed and given new dates is Ghostbusters Afterlife. It was supposed to come out on July 10th. Now it's pushed back to March 5th, 2021. So that's a pretty big jump. And I think what I want to make a point of while I'm saying all these is the different strategies I've noticed by different movie studios with their picking of dates. I think that's like the most interesting part of all this. So Uncharted, which is featuring Tom Holland, which initially was supposed to come out. It's kind of interesting. This one got pushed back but I guess it's because of production. So you got to think of it's two
Yeah.
ways. You know, some movies they're just sitting on and they can come out at any time, and then others they're movies that are in production. Now the production is slowed because of this whole pandemic. So Uncharted is one of those movies that is slowed because of the production. So it was supposed to come out March 5th. Yeah, go on.
I heard they were filming on day one, and that's when they got shut down. Was on day one.
Yeah, and that's
so you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what is crazy also to me, which is kind of, we'll get back into it, but Uncharted is, you would think would be a direct effect to Spider-Man 3, because, you know, Tom Holland, it's Sony, and it's supposed to come out October 8th, 2021 now, and Spider-Man 3, whatever it's going to be called, is still supposed to come out, I believe it's July 16th, 2021, which is now before Uncharted, yet Uncharted's supposed to be filming before Spider-Man, and now we're going like this because we don't know.
Yeah.
So that has not been that really has not been figured out yet. But that, so because I don't know if Sony's gonna want to move that Spider-Man date. You know, like it's.
I don't think they're gonna move the Spider-Man date. I think they would move Uncharted before they moved Spider-Man. I think they'd move Uncharted again before they move Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it just seems pretty interesting to me that they would move it. So it's like, what are they gonna produce first? Because it's the same studio technically, you know, producing it. Like this, I mean, Disney's involved with Spider-Man, but it is Sony. So anyway, Wonder Woman 1984, which I was super excited for. It was coming out, I think it was June 5th, June 2020.
Yeah.
Now it's coming out August 14th, which is, you know, that's a bit of an early date for these. We'll see later that the MCU movies, they're not getting near that like kind of gray area where people are thinking by like, you know, the mid-fall things will start getting okay. Mid-fall, winter, like we'll probably be back to normal. But the end of summer, that's kind of getting close. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wonder Woman moves again.
Yeah, we'll get to the Disney part of it, but I think Disney's is a very unique and experienced in terms of financial finagling is why they've scheduled the way they have, which we'll get to that when we get to the MCU.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman was the first movie to be rescheduled, if I'm not mistaken, out of all the ones that had been postponed. I think it was the first one to be announced to be rescheduled.
Yeah, one of the first like big blockbuster films.
Yeah. And God, if we're not out of this by August, holy crap.
Yeah, please.
Then I'm gonna
Rain down thunder.
I'm going to pee on the government. I'm just gonna pee on them. I'm gonna mark my territory and say, this is mine now. Thank you for giving me the power to test everyone because safety first. Be a hero. Test yourself. Test yourself. Do, do, do. Okay, sorry.
Very good. Next movie. So yeah, Wonder Woman getting pushed back. That's not. At least that's not having major effects on like a DC like universe like it does with Marvel, where it's fine moving to August. It's not affecting any of their other movies, like other release dates. At least like from the outside looking in. No Time to Die, James Bond. That was supposed to come out this month, April 2020. I was excited.
Oh yeah.
I was ready for it, and now it's getting pushed back to November 25th in the U.S., which I think is a pretty solid date.
Okay. Yeah, that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's a Thanksgiving date right there.
Thanksgiving. And now, speaking of holidays, Top Gun Maverick was supposed to come out in June 2020, this coming June. Finally, a sequel to the famous movie Top Gun of Tom Cruise. I love Top Gun. It's my brother's favorite movie. It's just one of those that it's like it finally gets a sequel and then it gets pushed back. But now it's going from a middle of summer, June 24th release date to a Christmas movie, December 23rd, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a pretty that seems a little weird that it feels more like a summer movie. If you've like seen the first one, it just seems more like a summer flick. But I'm still excited to see it, of course. And I think that should be fun around Christmas time, at least like in my family.
Yeah, I concur. I think that with Star Wars being a December staple sans Solo film, which was a scheduling mistake in my personal opinion, that there's now nothing that comes out regularly in December, so they've got a nice slot. And I was gonna get to this later, but I think that the summer movie blockbuster situation, there's a potential that it could shift to a fall blockbuster kind of
Yeah,
situation,
I mean
especially for this year and maybe
this
for the
year for
future. It's like,
sure.
oh, this year for sure. It's gonna be, hey, remember when you were sitting at home and you wanted to watch this movie? Well, now you can.
Yeah.
Coming December 23rd, Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise and everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, this year it's going to be like, I think, a bit of an avalanche when theaters start opening back up and it's big movies, because it's really,
My body is ready.
In the next couple years, like, because of this stall, like I was saying, stall with releases, stall with production, like, we're going to have a bit of a, like, boom once, like, 2021, 2022, because things are going to just get, like, there's a lot of movies that fall through the cracks that you don't really think about that are going to have to come out in later dates, you know? And it's all going to be piled up on each other.
And we'll get through the news, but I want to remember to bookmark that note on the boom of creativity after, because I have some historical information to link in with that and what I think is going to happen, especially with working in the industry. I've got some friends who have been talking about some things. So,
all right.
What's the next topic? What's our next movie that we have to cry about?
The next movie is F9, Fast and Furious, which was one. I think it was actually one of the first ones that moved.
It was.
It was
the first
and
one.
it moved. It moved early and it moved drastically. It went for like basically a full year. It was supposed to come out May 2020. So this May, I think late May. So it was gonna like be like, I think 3 or 4 weeks after Black Widow was originally supposed to come out. You know, get a little separation there. And like, you know, Fast and Furious, it's not the best movie franchise in the world, but I still like it. I still go out and see it. I think it's a fun time. It's one of those movies you just kind of turn your brain off and eat some popcorn and enjoy yourself, you know. But now we gotta wait until April 2nd, 2021. So like a full year, literally almost a year from today is when it comes out.
And I think that's a damn good move also.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was questionable, but now I see why they're doing that, because you're going to have to, as Disney's kind of alluding to with their scheduling, you got to make money.
Yeah.
And with production shut down this year means no money next year. So if you're going to lose money this year already, you might as well be able to make up for it with a guaranteed moneymaker with that.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
For Universal, like Fast and Furious is like their biggest cash cow. They don't own any kind of like superhero movie really. They technically own the rights to Hulk, but that's like a weird deal.
That's something that'll never get fixed, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Anywho, but hey, we can still get a She-Hulk Disney Plus show. Because loopholes.
I love a loophole. That's a lie. I don't like loopholes. Clean them up.
Yeah, so another big one is A Quiet Place 2, which I know a lot of people were excited for that. I'm not a big horror guy, just like straight up. I don't really dig horror films so much. But that had a lot of hype around it, and now it's set for, it was coming out, I think it was this month. I don't have that number in front of me, but it's coming out now September 4th. That was just announced. So that's basically it I wanted to go over. Oh, I had a few more actually. Mulan. Mulan was supposed to come out. Yeah. It was supposed to come out July 24th. Or no, it was supposed to come out March 27th. My bad. It was supposed to come out this past like month, like a week ago.
Like a week and change.
Yeah.
Sad. That looked dope.
But what's interesting, why I wanted to make a note of this, and I think we can swing this into our next topic along with my next movie, is it's supposed to now open on July 24th, which for Disney, I think that's an interesting date. Like July 24th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Wow.
So that's a pretty bold, I could see that movie again. I'm not sure because you want to, I mean, if I'm a movie studio right now, I don't want to just open the second, because, you know, these things don't happen like that. Like, movie theaters will slowly start opening back up, like anything else, like everything else. I think it'll be kind of a slow, like, reset, build, you know? Yeah. And I think I would want theaters to be fully open. You know, people will not be scared to go into big crowds. Like, that's going to be a big thing. People are going to be, the way our lives are changing with all this, people are going to be nervous about just going out and living their normal lives, like going into a packed theater. So I think July 24th is a pretty risky date. I think it's a pretty, like, aggressive date, I would say. Like, I'm not sure if that's exactly where I would put it, but I guess for Mulan, they think it's like kind of a middle of the pack moneymaker for Disney, which for them is like still $400 million or $500 million or so.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Yeah, it's it's a half a bill,
Yeah.
no big deal.
I mean, yeah, exactly. With Disney, it's like hard to even say. But okay, so
Yeah, don't want to shake no sticks at it.
what I find hilarious, and after this we'll get to the MCU, is that the New Mutants has been delayed once again for like its fourth or fifth time now. And not only that, but Disney announced all these new release dates. New Mutants did not get one.
Mm-hmm.
It's indefinite again.
Yes.
Like, please just put it
they
on
have
Disney
another
Plus. Put
couple
it on
ones.
Hulu, please.
Yeah, Hulu. It's not going to be on Disney Plus. That is not a kids film.
Right.
So there's no plus of Disney on that one.
But I find it hilarious that, of course, New Mutants gets not only delayed, but an indefinite delay.
See, you have like such glee in your eye. You're so mean. You hate the mutants. You're such a human, and I don't like it. However, I actually think New Mutants is going to be awesome, and here's why: because it was a film created as a filmmaker-specific film. Who does that? MCU.
Right.
What did Fox do? We need reshoots. Kevin Feige allegedly takes a look at it and goes, I like this film. I'd watch this film. And is like, here's a release date for you. And no, don't worry about reshoots. Don't worry about any of this. That's a good film. Why? Why is that the thing? And that's why I think it's going to be good, because it's a solid single story, not set in the fracked up X-Men timeline of two Dark Phoenixes that both are garbage. Sorry, Fox, but you did it to yourselves. So it's really just like it's its own movie, and if it does well, Multiverse of Madness can always bring the New Mutants in. And guess what? Since it's New Mutants, and Kevin Feige has alluded to the fact that they may not be called the X-Men, they might be called mutants, and he didn't say that in a sentence, but he alluded to it by his careful choosing of his words, and we all know Feige does things with purpose. So he said, yeah, I'm excited to get the mutants in here. And it's like, oh, not the X-Men, the mutants.
Right.
So is it the New Mutants that give us the idea of who they are, and then boom, everybody else comes after?
I don't know. It's not a, like you said, it's not an MCU film. But they could bring it in if it really blows up. But the reason I was so like gleeful and like happy about, or just not happy, but like I find it so funny, is not because I don't think I think it could be a good movie for all the reasons you just said. Like I think it could be fun. I like the cast. Yeah. Like I like how it's those contained stories. Like we've seen great contained stories lately with the Joker and even like Birds of Prey was fairly contained, in its own right. And so I think
it just alluded, which is perfect. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You got little Easter eggs,
right?
Like the old days.
I think, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like going back to some of those movies, and I think New Mutants could be good. I just want to see it at this point. It's been done for years. It was filmed like 5 years ago. Release it. Put it somewhere. Like, I feel bad, for that movie. I feel bad for everyone involved because, like, I even saw some. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was what's her name? Maisie
Macy Williams.
Williams, yeah. I don't know if it was her or one of the other actors in it, but they basically were saying like it's weird seeing like marketing for a movie they filmed like years ago now, and like because it's so old the filming of it, so it's like come on, just put it on Hulu, do something, put it on VOD, like, and they didn't set a date, so they don't even have a plan right now for it. So I feel bad for them. I still want to see it, like it's still something that I still want to see. Like I'm curious what they're doing with that. Like it seems like it's a cool little like, I don't know. Hopefully it's not like too scary or like whatever they do with it. But I think it could be interesting for sure. And it's one of those crazy anomalies that's happening right now with the release dates. I don't think I've ever seen much like it.
Yeah, it is it's the hot potato of films.
Yeah, it really is.
Or maybe we should say the hot potato of release dates, because
Yeah, it's
Woo.
it's the slug of being released. Okay.
Woobity wham wham wazzle.
So moving on to the MCU, our bigger topic when it comes to these movies that are actually being, delayed.
Wait, you missed one.
What was that?
Jungle Cruise. When is that delayed to?
Jungle Cruise. Yeah, that's a good point. I think it got
because that ties into my overall Disney money-making scheme.
So I believe actually that Jungle Cruise got pushed back a full year. So it was
I want to say it is now July 21st, 2021.
It's July 30th,
I'm
2021.
30th, okay.
Yeah, so it's been pushed back significantly. Yeah. Fox's Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds is now to open December 11th instead of July 1st of this year. So that's another
and
December
what
movie.
Opens what isn't there a movie opening like right before or right after Free Guy? Right after. It's a Disney film.
In
December? I saw it and I was like, yeah. I saw it the other day and I was like, well, it doesn't look like they're trying to get that movie to make any money because it's followed by a named film that is holy banana balls. Is it a film that I think everyone's going to want to go see? And for the life of me, at this moment in space-time, I cannot remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know Indiana Jones got delayed as well.
Fast.
There's an untitled 5th Indiana Jones film that was supposed to come out, this is also one of those production things where it wasn't even supposed to come out anytime soon, but it was supposed to come out July 9th, 2021, and now it's coming out July 29th, 2022. So like we were saying, we were talking about with the adding up, the stacking, it's all kind of like piling up and things are getting pushed back. And that's just...
Yeah.
It's a shame as a fan. Like, it's one of those things where you have to be patient,
Yes.
It stinks.
So I found it's Free Guy comes out December 11th, 2020. A week later, Disney also owned West Side Story is coming out December 18th, which is why I was like, are they trying to make money? But I guess technically it's shooting for different audiences, so it's a toss-up there. And then a week after that is The Last Duel. And West Side Story and The Last Duel are two dates that remain unchanged. So for 3 straight weeks, they have, I'm pretty sure these are all Disney products, have 3 movies coming out.
Wow. Yeah.
So they're just cash grabbing there.
That's exactly it. There's movies that, like, 'cause some movies have been filmed, fully edited, and they just had, like, release dates, in the fall, in the winter. Like West Side Story, for instance. I think that's, fully done, or at least, like, in post-production. Because if it's in post, you're good.
Post.
Yeah, right.
The audition was like 2 or 3 years ago because I sent in a tape.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't get it. They didn't want to see me dance or hear me sing.
Well, that's a shame for them.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, even as soon as this fall, this winter, we could see like a stacking of movies that are coming out, and it would be a great time to hopefully have AMC A-list still,
Yeah, I really hope we have an AMC built in town by then, but probably not.
Yeah, well, with AMC's current predicament, who knows what state they'll be in. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get to the MCU, our beloved MCU.
Woo! Yeah.
So
insert fanfare.
So Black Widow, it was coming out May 5th, I think. It was coming out, first weekend of May. I forget exact.
It was May 1.
May 1. It was coming out May 1st, and now it's pushed back to where Eternals was supposed to come out in November 6th. And this is
long.
I mean, basically in this past July, Feige went up on stage, Comic-Con, told us all of Phase 4, broke it down, said all the dates, and we've just seen a shift now. Basically, we've just seen every movie from Phase 4 and beyond just shift how would you call it? It's like almost like a time slot for the MCU, but it's like a date slot because they have these certain times during the year where they like to come out with movies, which is like
pick their stuff,
like May, July, November, February. That's kind of their 4 general spots. So now we're
and shift,
and the shift is it's really it's gonna have to change their strategy. It's putting pressure on different movies. So let's just run. I'm just gonna run through it all. Just the movies right now. We're getting to streaming in a bit. But now, the new release dates. I'm not even gonna worry about the old ones. The new release dates as of now are Black Widow November 6th, Eternals February 12th, Shang-Chi May 7th. That's a big one. Multiverse of Madness November 5th. Thor Love and Thunder moving to, and this is all, those are all 2021, except for Black Widow 2020. Yes. Sorry, I should have put in the year. Thor Love and Thunder February 18th, 2022, which is fun. Love and Thunder, you made that point the other day. We were texting. It's a Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, ladies.
And then Black Panther 2, May 6th, 2022. And that actually wasn't a changed date. That was already the release date for that film. So they're just kind of, they're kind of just like working around that, building out around that. Yeah. And then they announced, this was not announced yet, the date or even the confirmation of the movie happening, but we all knew it was.
We all knew it was.
Captain Marvel 2, July 8th, 2022. And then also in there, I forgot to mention, in between, as of right now, in between Shang-Chi May 7th, 2021 and Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and November 5th, 2021 is Spider-Man 3, which we don't know the name of it yet, but probably Spider-Man Stay Home.
Spider-Man Work From Home.
July 16th, 2021. And July has been kind of that month for the Spider-Man films in the MCU. Homecoming, Far From Home, they both came out in July. They've all, if this sticks, it'll all be 3 years or 2 years apart for each one. And I don't know if that's going to stay. And, that wasn't a part of Disney's announcement, and Sony hasn't talked about it at all. They've changed the Uncharted date, but I hope, because it's still in the MCU, we know this.
Yes.
After the whole debacle and everything, everything came back to order, thank goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Tom Holland. Everything's back in order.
Thank you, drunk Tom Holland.
Yeah, and the problem I see with this, and there's a few things, I want to hear your thoughts just overall first, but one of the MCU, we all know this, it's carefully selected. One movie leads to the next, Easter egg here, Easter egg there, post-credit scene, this, that, the time. And Spider-Man not moving, but the other Disney MCU movies moving around it makes me question what its role is in the MCU. So what do you think overall about all this, and maybe just on the Spider-Man thing?
All right, so overall, I'm heartbroken because I love the MCU. Obviously, it's not like I dress up as Thor and make children smile with a googly-eyed Mjolnir or anything. But I'm not upset. I'm disheartened that this pandemic has happened, first off, and that it's led to a delay in everything I love, all of the sports. Literally all of the sports. I love sports.
Thing. Yeah.
And that's why we get along so well. We both love sports. We're both nerds. We both love comic books and superheroes, and we both absolutely love movies, which is why we've made this podcast. We'll probably be talking about sports at some point because action is an action word. Action boy now. Sorry, Power Rangers popped in my head for a moment. But all of the movies moving and shifting, personally, sucks for me because I'm not the most patient person, but in the end, how they've done it is strategic for financial moves. They know that any of these movies can and probably will can generate $1 billion, and most of them, any sequel probably will generate $1 billion.
Yeah.
So that is instantaneous cash flow right there. The only movie that I question might not making $1 billion is it's not Shang-Chi. Surprisingly.
Yeah. I think it's Eternals.
Because I think it's Eternals. I think it going in November was the best place for it to be. And what is Eternals' new date again?
February 12th, 2021.
February 12th. Okay. So
and that's a risky spot there, that's a place where we just saw Birds of Prey flop. Even though it was a quality film. I mean, it was R-rated. But,
And what movie came out right after and made the exact same amount of money off of a twice as large budget and was considered a success. That racing movie, Ford and Ferrari.
Oh yeah.
It was races the first place with a strong opening. It made $1 million less than Birds of Prey did in their opening, and it cost twice as much.
No, Ford v Ferrari came out in November, I thought.
I don't know. You might be right. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, there's issues with that, but I think it's a little risky. However, they pulled off. First off, Eternals has something. It is going to be their most diverse cast.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be very helpful. It's got Angelina Jolie. It's got Selma Hayek. It's got I can never say his name.
We know who you're talking about.
Sorry. Thank you. Yes,
Kumail.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
his first name.
Kumail. Yes. I was seeing extra letters in my head. I was probably mixing his first name and last name with my dyslexia. But first off, the thirst on him after him getting shredded is well deserved, because first off, he's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
The thirst should have been real off of his sense of humor, ladies. Just stop being so visual, judging us. But I think that he's going to bring in Gilgamesh. I'm excited, honestly, for Gilgamesh more than all the others, because I know the epic of Gilgamesh, and I want to see how it ties in, and I want to see if it's going to lead to a Hercules. Because I want Thor and Hercules to go to war for half of a film, and then get the Hulk, and then be buddies. We're restarting the Revenges. We've got the Smart Hulk, Hercules. Cool, you want to be in it? Yeah. All right, cool guy. Meek, you're still alive? Wonderful. I think Eternals is the one that might not make it, but it actually has more going for it in terms of bringing in a diverse audience.
Yeah.
It's also going to be the first. Am I remembering this right? It's going to be the first LGBT representation on the big screen for Marvel. Have you read who it is?
No.
Oh, spoiler alert, it's Brian Tyree Henry. He's going to be married, and they're going to have kids, if I do remember the report I saw.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the first on-screen kiss.
Really?
Between a same-sex couple.
Yeah.
In the MCU ever.
Yeah.
So that is going to be, and he's playing Phaistos.
Interesting.
And that's going to be, yep, and obviously he's a black gentleman, which is not a very well represented demographic in the LGBT community.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a more diverse part of my town, and boy, they are very harsh to each other. There's a very toxic masculinity is really bad where I grew up.
Right.
And it is sometimes worse in other demographics, and it just depends on where you live. But he's actually going to be married to a. Is he Hispanic? I believe he's a Hispanic of Hispanic descent.
Right.
So Latino. So they're going to be. That is a very.
So we're getting a lot of representation in Eternals, you know.
Exactly. And in that one situation alone is going to bring in huge representation for very underrepresented minority groups.
Right.
Of multiple layers. So it has the potential to bring in a more diverse cast. Will it make $1 billion? I don't know, because the privileged people in the world don't always enjoy being shown something that they morally cannot handle, emotionally cannot handle, or just disagree with.
Right.
No one likes watching stuff. So it may do well, it may not. I personally don't give a damn. Represent.
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
And I think that it's really like, we'll see how far they even lean into all the representation. We'll see where that actually, how it plays out in the theater. Like, I think it could be pretty subtle. It could be just kind of alluded to. We don't know, because, you know, things are pretty, you don't really know until you go in the theater and see them. You know what I mean? Like, when you read something, it sounds, it can sound a little more like it's going to be a bigger part of the film than it is. But these movies are all MCU movies. It's not going to be the point of it, you know?
No, it's going to be a moment in a film about these characters, and that's it.
It's just the characteristic
for the film. Exactly. It's not it doesn't define them. It's just a part of who they are.
It's not. And same with the movie, you know.
Exactly. It's not going to define the movie, but there are going to be some outlets that are going to try and define it by that, which is absolutely irresponsible and idiotic.
Right.
I'm looking at you, propaganda machines.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think Black Widow, I think it's actually not a bad move for them because, you know, in Marvel movies, that first weekend in May slot, Marvel has owned that weekend. And that has been their biggest. They've put every Avengers movie there. They put every property in that first May slot where they were just like, this is going to make us $1 billion or more, you know? And now we're seeing Black Widow.
Mostly.
Yeah.
You're forgetting Thor 1, bro.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. I mean, they put it there because they needed eyes there. And they only had, that was their third movie.
Right.
Fourth movie. It was their fourth movie. And they were like, hey, we need you to know who this is. And then they released Captain America in July that year because why wouldn't you release Captain America near July 4th?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then, so then it was just like boom, 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 boom. And then since then, it has been their biggest properties. Iron Man 3, Guardians 2.
Guardians 2 was there.
Avengers 2.
Yep. Captain America Civil War.
Civil War.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Yep.
Gosh.
And now Black Widow, because they knew that was in this phase 4, at least this phase 4 slot, it's one of the more established things. It's one
yes,
fans have been pining for. People have been wanting a Black Widow solo film. So it made sense for them to put it there. I've never been a big fan of it being the first. Honestly, to me, I think Black Widow is 2 years too late. That's just my opinion, just storytelling wise. I think it would have been cooler to see it in between Civil War and Infinity War. I think that would have been a really cool time. I think it would have made the events that happened with her in Endgame even more powerful. Like now it's going to just retroactively make it more powerful, but why not do it in the first place? And I think it's because Disney was scared and they didn't think it would do well. I don't know. I think it would have done well. And
yes, but B, they've already talked about it. They didn't feel like they could pull away the resources that they were utilizing to finish out the 10 years, because they've talked about this. I want to say it was Victoria Alonso and Kevin Feige and a couple others have come out and said that, you know, the reason that they did it this way is because they knew what they wanted the Black Widow film to be, but they were debating on whether or not they should do it place it in there how they were, which would genuinely, especially at that time, pull major resources away.
Yeah.
While they were still having certain creative decisions. They had control, but they had certain things they really had to finesse. Especially when they brought in Spider-Man and Black Panther, and then they needed to introduce Captain Marvel before the Endgame. Because Endgame, for those of you that don't know, was written while the story was being generated while Civil War was filming. So what was that? So 5 years or so before Endgame came out is when they broke that story and figured out what they were going to do, and then they had their building blocks, your story beats, and it changes a story. Certain people
writing, edits
to the characters, exactly, and there was no extra room in terms of time and resources to throw into Black Widow. Now, I think here's why I'm excited about what they're doing, because now nothing is linear. It's no longer a linear story, because they now have everything's set in the modern MCU, because now we have to distinguish timelines.
Now we're in 2023. Awesome.
We're in 2023. Maybe even it's 2023. Yeah. They've said Falcon and Winter Soldier will be a few months after Endgame.
Yeah, but 2023. I think that's all I read.
So it'll be exactly 2023. And Widow is set in 2016.
And it seems to pop with Widow. It seems like it's gonna jump places. Like I even heard it's gonna. The movie's coming out now, so it's gonna lead into the future in some way.
Yes.
And there'll be some flashbacks.
And I think. Yeah, there's gonna be flashbacks, but I think the way it's gonna lead is certain characters will now be introduced. I'm just gonna say it. Taskmaster, if he doesn't die, which for the love of God, Marvel,
please don't die.
Stop killing your villains. I love Taskmaster. Taskmaster can destroy the entire Avengers without anybody who doesn't have major superpowers, he can destroy. He could take out Captain America by himself. Fact.
Too bad he's an old
It's
man
been
now.
done. Oh, he could very much take him out now. But that's neither here nor there. Please stop killing your villains.
Yeah.
I want more storytelling, and I'm gonna be very upset if you kill him.
Taskmaster versus Black Panther. That'd be so cool.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? That's what I want. I wanted Taskmaster versus Cap and Black Widow and Hawkeye, and I wanted him to fight Iron Man at the same time.
Yeah.
Because that would have been an insane fight. Because what is he going to do? Well, he's going to learn Iron Man's moves, and he's going to beat the crap out of him with the exact move that needs to be done. But if he would have fought Captain America and Black Panther at the same time, could you imagine?
You know what's kind of cool and I'm thinking about right now?
Explode.
Is in Civil War when Iron Man's fighting Captain America and like Friday is like reading his moves. Imagine like an Iron Man shot where it's like versus Taskmaster and they're both reading each other's moves and it's like this crazy like I don't know, almost like mirror like image.
Yeah.
Oh, so sick.
Yes.
Anyway.
Exactly. Like how sick would have that have been? Oh
yeah,
God.
So
we just
do not kill Taskmaster, Marvel, please. They can't. There's no way.
We just made such great headcanon.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a way. Come on.
There is a way, but they should not tease him in a prequel movie, which Black Widow is, and then just be like, he's dead.
Yeah. Well, they might tease his death. Like, they might say he's dead, but he's really not dead.
One of
because
those.
that happens a lot. Like, which I would be okay with in the long run, but I'm going to be very upset afterwards because I really love
I'd like to see him. Here's what I want to see. I want to see him put in jail, incarcerated, whatever. What's Red Hulk's name? Oh my gosh.
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross. Like he's in his captivity or whatever, and then poof, post-credit scene. It's the events of Infinity War. It's the events of Endgame, and now Taskmaster's on the loose.
Exactly.
That's what we're seeing with Zemo in Falcon Winter Soldier.
And here's rumors I've been hearing now. Of course, they're going to drop these rumors because anytime that they do something, it's like, well, they might be doing this next storyline. There's rumors that it's going to be the next big thing is the Kree Skrull War / Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion,
yep. A 10-year build, which
Sword.
Yeah, which feels right. Like, if they go that route for the next 10 years, that is the perfect thing to do. Because not only will it have been a 10-year build for us, it would have been a 30 to 40-year build from the 90s. Let's see, 2023. Right. So that's another 2033. That's a 43. Oh my God, I'll be 43 that year. Holy crap! I just realized that I'm gonna be an adult, like a real adult with gray hair, and I'm gonna bleach it. Let's be real. But she.
You don't already?
No. This is not bleached. It's too green to be bleached. It's too dirty blonde. But I think that would be a great way to do that. But before that, the next, say, ensemble film, Thunderbolts. And I think it starts in Black Widow. And that's the rumor I've heard. And that's
I heard that
why
too.
I think that's why Taskmaster's there. I genuinely think Taskmaster has been hired by Thunderbolt Ross this entire time. Because that is such a move for him.
So tell the audience what Thunderbolts is.
Thunderbolts, that's a good point. Thunderbolts are quote-unquote reformed villains who become heroes. What it really is similar to the Suicide Squad, a.k.a. Task Force X. They are villains who are, they are, if I'm recalling the comics correctly, they're essentially reprogrammed mentally due to sometimes torture, sometimes just making a deal. And they go on secret, covert missions with their powers, and they're utilized to help the American government. They're usually villains, and after the original Civil War, they grew to become the actual Avengers when, spoiler alert for a 10-year-old comic series, when Norman Osborn took over S.H.I.E.L.D. and became director of S.H.I.E.L.D., he made the Thunderbolts. He gave them all new costumes and made them the Avengers. And that led to the siege of Asgard. Asgard fell. Loki was killed saving Asgard and Thor because he allowed it to happen. Shocking. And Thor brings Loki back, spoiler alert, And that led to the first true reassembling of the Avengers after that, which led to the Heroic Age in 2011. Which also led to, if I'm not mistaken, that event led to Captain America being brought back to life right after, from being displaced in time. And the Thunderbolts have a litany of various characters. So you've had Red Hulk is one of them, because obviously Thunderbolt was a military man. He becomes the Red Hulk. He loses his mustache when he turns into the Hulk. We don't understand the physics of that. Please do not ask. Venom, at various incarnations, have been there. Bullseye has impersonated as Hawkeye. That's his name, right? Yeah, it's Bullseye.
Bullseye. Yep. Yeah.
I almost said Deadshot because they're basically the same character.
Yeah.
One's just Irish. No, he's not Irish. And there's a few other characters that have been used, but Taskmaster is a perfect candidate for that.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they have a Thunderbolts thing, but then that turns into the Masters of Evil, which I'm so excited. I've heard rumors that the Enchantress is going to show up in something in the future.
I heard that rumor.
Whether it's Loki or it's Thor Love and Thunder, which again, spoiler alert for comics here, Enchantress is absolutely enamored and in love with Thor, and at multiple times has used her magic to make him marry her, which is super wrong. You use your magic to make anyone marry you. That's why I love the rules from Bruce Almighty. You cannot use it to make someone love you. You have to do that yourself.
Right.
Or let them love you is really what it comes down to. So there's a lot of little trinkets that could be sprinkled in, and with Loki being a time hopping adventure, there's no telling who they're going to bring in.
What I think we should do,
variations? We should do a whole MCU episode.
We should do a episode on just rumors. I'm already thinking of some, and I'm thinking like, do I bring them up now and go on for forever, or should we just keep going through these movies quickly and then save just all the rumors for all the different movies? Because there's rumors for every movie. There's different stories from comics where I want to see things go. Bring in the X-Men, bring in the Fantastic Four, all that. Let's not even talk about it. Let's just
the Multiverse of Madness.
The Multiverse of Madness. That's the name of a movie coming out. Come on.
Which might be bringing Nightmare. Are you fracking serious, bro?
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll postpone the rumor discussion because we will go on for 5 hours.
That could be like a whole episode. And I think that could be a great episode because
that could be a special episode because that could be a 2 hours. You might have to pay. You might have to pay for that, listeners. I hope not, but we'll see.
Anywho, all right. So Black Widow, boom, got that. Eternals hopefully turns out well. Shang-Chi, May 7th.
I forgot to talk about your Spider-Man thing.
Oh, right.
So this is really for the rumory side, but this is more about speculation. You know what this is? This is our first ever fan theory segment. I think that the Spider-Man movie is going to be okay. It was always set before the Multiverse of Madness, was it not?
That was unconfirmed.
I thought... No, I mean like date, the release date.
Oh, no, it was going to come after.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was coming. Multiverse of Madness was going to come out May 7th, and then Spider-Man
in July.
So yeah, now it's before, so it's screwing it up. Like I think because I thought those could be tied together. That was the whole Sam Raimi rumors.
Yeah.
The Tobey Maguire action, getting my little kid heart beating super fast. Like, I was... Well,
in that case, let's go ahead and hope that they film Uncharted first and then Spider-Man,
and then push it back.
And push it back, because I was thinking that it was Multiverse of Madness after Spider-Man, which I was worried that the Multiverse of Madness would be to write Spider-Man out, which now they have as the opportunity.
But maybe that was never the plan to interweave those.
Here is something, maybe the plan was also to have Multiverse of Madness happen, and then you find out that Spider-Man was set before because now they're not telling linear storytelling.
Right.
Which is the
they
most
don't have
important
to.
thing.
Yeah.
They don't have to. But with Wanda and Loki being involved with Multiverse of Madness, now
Oh, yeah.
you're basically turning it into an Avengers film, and
That's why
that's
it was in
going
that
to
May slot, you know?
yeah, and that's so
That's why I
you
felt that
may
way anyway.
yes, and now it's back in November, which here's my thing that I love the most about some of these. Most of the movies are in the no, this time slots that we originally saw them.
Right.
You know, Black Widow would have been great in May because we first saw Black Widow in May of 2010. Yes, that is correct. I had to think about the year that for a second. And
Yeah.
then it was and now Doctor Strange is in November. Thor is in February, but Thor is a world traveler. But it's right there by Valentine's Day, and it's called Love and Thunder. So
I think that works well.
I think that works so well. Black Panther was in February, but now it's in May because
And,
it
it's Black Panther.
It's
Yeah.
Black Panther. Now, it's in my personal opinion, Black Panther is going to be the most important Avenger.
Yeah.
He is now not the Tony Stark, but he now holds. He's a king like Thor. And my favorite thing about the new big three, as they kind of set them up to be Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, each one of them have.
Please, Spider-Man.
Yes, please. Peter Parker deserves better than being at just Sony because he won't get to play with everyone else. Let him hop between the multiverses.
I also have a Sony point I forgot to bring up earlier that I'm going to bring up in a second once you're done.
Spider-Verse movie, please. But Black Panther's a king like Thor. He's based around vibranium, and he's of a very high moral character like Cap. Does Cap made mistakes? Yes. Has Black Panther made mistakes? Yes. Stop arguing that Cap is in the wrong for Civil War. Spoiler alert.
Team Iron Man.
I'm Team Cap. I will always be Team Cap.
That's a whole other episode.
That's a whole different fan debacle. But and then when it comes to Tony Stark, T'Challa is a genius. They haven't
touched on that. They touched
haven't
on
touched
Shuri
on
being it.
Yes,
being a genius.
Which I love Shuri. If Shuri becomes Black Panther, I would give zero damn.
Quick rumor
craps.
tease: Young Avengers. Maybe we see her pop up in that. That's a new
she
rumor
is like
floating
16.
around.
Yeah,
And she's, this is Black Panther 2 is coming out in 2022. Like she'll be
Exactly.
older, young woman, like maybe in her 20s by the time a Young Avengers movie were to come out. Yeah, I think I'm not worried at all about a Black Panther 2 in May. I think we should talk about just quickly. We want to kind of just get through this. Shang-Chi, I'm so excited for it, but a May 7th date. Now, this is I think this is one of the most underrated big impacts. You are putting Shang-Chi, a new character, a new just set new environment, new setting, new
Yes.
I mean, the Legend of the Ten Rings, that was that was in Iron Man, and that's cool, and I'm super excited for that to come back. The real Mandalorian Mandalorian.
Ooh. This is the way. Yeah, the real
Mandarin. Yeah, my bad. The real Mandarin. Mandalorian pops up. No. The real Mandarin. I'm super excited, and I was super excited because it was in a February spot. Low risk. They're not putting all their eggs in that basket. I think it's just a May 2021. Like a year from now, and it's the May release date for it. It could either do two things. It could be a great movie, and there could be a whole, with it's a whole there could be an Asian American movement. There could be a whole thing where kind of like Black Panther did, where there's demographics and minorities that are coming out in troves and be this whole big thing. It's for a superhero movie because they haven't been represented as well, or it could kind of flop. But I'm hoping, I'm super excited for this movie, especially because all the Ten Rings stuff, and I really want to see how they work that in. Because I loved all that in Iron Man. I think it's just a super cool story, and I think Shang-Chi, his powers. He's just a master martial arts. He's not super power. He's not like Captain Marvel or something. He's more kind of grounded. But he's just. I think the action could be super cool in it, and but it puts a lot of pressure on May 7th. So I was gonna make the point that look out for that, and I'm hoping Shang-Chi the best, but for those people on that movie and the guy who's playing Shang-Chi, that is that you're stepping into some big shoes in that May slot, and I really, really hope they take advantage and knock it out of the park.
See, I think that I was upset when it wasn't given a May slot. That was the movie originally that, out of all of them, like all of the new movies that were being rumored, I was the most excited for. I watched a lot of kung fu movies with my dad growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee as just a person. And this has the opportunity to pay homage to Bruce Lee. And if they pay homage to Bruce Lee, which is something that the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood did not do, I've yet to finish that movie. I've yet to even start it because who has 3 hours to sit down and not do something these days?
Me when I watch Endgame every other week.
Damn,
Not actually.
bro. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, woo!
I've seen Endgame twice since out of theaters.
I can't say the same. I've definitely seen it more than that.
Exactly.
But it was back when I wasn't doing a lot of work at once. But I think May to me is the perfect place for it because A, you're getting the real Mandarin. B, you're introducing to a new character that has literally changed so many other characters, such as he's trained Captain America a couple different times. He's trained Spider-Man when he lost his spider sense. If I'm not mistaken, he might have trained Thor to learn a couple different things so he could be a faster hand-to-hand guy. He's trained Iron Fist at different points and sparred with Iron Fist. And he has the ability to, with his master martial arts, he can control every fiber of his muscle. So like him versus Taskmaster is an idea that I've had since I started researching Shang-Chi, because I didn't really know much about him. And I've researched what he can do and his abilities, and he legitimately is like the one person who I think would take out Taskmaster from everyone we've seen, simply because he can change anything for any angle that he wants.
Yeah.
Similar to
I'm super excited.
Mantis in the comics, which is a whole different rabbit hole I found out about from This Week in Marvel this week.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so quickly just wrapping up here. So those are we kind of went over the movies. I'm sad Multiverse of Madness isn't in May because it, like we were saying, it did kind of seem to be working towards an ensemble, Civil War-esque, where it's not an Avengers movie, but there's a bunch of familiar faces. So we'll see, and like we were saying earlier, where MCU doesn't have to thrive and live in the summer. It could be having these big events in November,
exactly. And the best part is, Falcon and Winter Soldier still currently scheduled for
August, and that I want to talk about
not
that.
September.
It's August.
I thought it was September. No, it is. You're right. It's August, and then October is Mando, right? And then November or December is WandaVision.
And that's still the lineup, and I don't know if that's going to stick, and that was going to be how I wanted to end today's podcast.
We'll get there, but as of where we stand now, WandaVision leads into Multiverse of Madness, and Loki leads into Multiverse of Madness, and Loki's early 2021, so then you have a 9-month difference that'll lead so you can sit there. I was excited because it was like, oh, WandaVision, then Loki, then Multiverse of Madness. That's a nice quick arc of stories to stick with. But now I'm even more excited, and I cannot believe I'm saying this because I can't actually. Waiting is the worst when it comes to stories. But now you get this okay, we've built up to here. We've built up to here. We know they're going to be involved. Now, how are they going to be involved? I think both of those will have a post-credit scene setting each character up for Multiverse of Madness.
I hope so.
Now we're gonna fester with it and wait a little longer. So.
Yeah, and I hope Multiverse of Madness ends up being with Scott Derrickson leaving, who headed Doctor Strange 1. I'm still a little nervous, I liked his vision for the first one. I think it's I'm curious because sometimes it feels to me when these sorts of things happen and you go and then watch a film and you can almost kind of pick up on why there were creative differences just by the storytelling of it. So I'm curious to see it and see almost I wonder why he wanted to. Maybe because he didn't want to be. They don't want it to be as scary. They don't want to push it too much.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and
being delayed gives them more time to find a director. Which and if they're trying to get Sam Raimi, that gives them more time to. complete it. You listening could not see what I was doing with my hands. But
Yeah,
I was
audio
bringing
listeners.
my hands together because I couldn't figure out words.
Yeah, and well, okay, so a big thing with me is that, so, it's gonna be a big gap between Far From Home, which is the end of the Infinity Saga, to Black Widow. And now, with Black Widow being pushed, Falcon and Winter Soldier is gonna be our first taste of the next saga, if it stays.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. It's gonna be a Disney Plus show, which is a big opportunity, but I don't know if it's gonna stay.
I always looked at Falcon and Winter Soldier as the next what's next with Marvel.
Right.
I always looked at it like that because Black Widow is set in the past. Black Widow is going to give us Easter eggs for the future is how I looked at it. It was going to set up little things here and there that's going to have a bigger payoff later on.
Yeah.
But because you don't want to have why would you have Captain Marvel movie come out 10 years ago and then never see her again until Endgame?
Right.
It kind of sets it up weird. So you have them introduced now, then they come into play later in other episodes and films.
Right.
So I was always looking at Falcon and Winter Soldier that's our first step for the future, and I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped. I always wanted Bucky, before Falcon was even brought on, when they announced the first Captain America movie, I was like, are we going to get Bucky as Captain America? And then as we got closer and we saw Bucky, I was like, I don't know how they're going to make Bucky Captain America because holy crap, does he have some baggage, which in the comics he did as well. But now they're going to do Falcon as Captain America, and I'm super excited for that because I agree with their choice because Bucky is not in the mindset to be Captain America, and in the comics he was a little bit more of the mindset to become Captain America. He just wants to be left alone, man. He's tired of fighting, he's tired of war, he's tired of being on the run, and becoming Captain America literally changes nothing for his life.
Right.
Not being Captain America, he now has a choice.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, with U.S. Agent coming in, that it's not going to be this clear-cut Falcon, you're Captain America, here's the suit. I think there's going to be a really cool storytelling. I think it's going to be awesome. Them showing him training him, mentally getting in, am I Captain America? Am I worthy of it,
Yes.
Is he worthy? Because Cap was literally worthy,
Yes.
So, and Bucky feel like he wouldn't be. And maybe there's this government involvement. I think it could be really cool TV just outside of the MCU, I think the story is really there.
I'm excited because it's keeping that, Captain America, when done right in the comics, has always been a political spy thriller vibe.
Right.
And once the Russo brothers came on, that's exactly what they've done, is every one of their movies with Captain America in some way is a spy thriller film. Civil War is exactly that. It's just he's on the wrong side. He's basically burned.
Right.
It's like that episode, or it's like the movie that James Bond's being chased by his own team. I don't know if that's happened. I haven't seen them all, but probably. It sounds like a storyline that should happen.
Yeah.
And so now it's okay. Well, he's gone, and we weren't really fans of him. So what makes you think we're going to be fans of you? And it's like, well, you're not. But go suck it, politics.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. They were close to being completed. I think they weren't quite done yet, so it is paused, but they probably don't have much left to do. So I don't. Yeah. So will it come out in August? I'm pessimistic, to be honest. I think they just haven't announced it yet. But as of right now, it's there. And either way, because I don't think it was ever the plan for that to be the first thing out of the gates for the next saga, the next phase. But we'll see.
And again, I feel it was, because if you look at how it is, the first movie coming out was Black Widow.
Yeah.
A known property. The first thing that's not known is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right.
Characters but you don't know any, because it's like, oh, he was handed the shield. What now?
Well, how about this? I think from Disney, maybe marketing, maybe making money, I think in their head, they're like, you know what? Black Widow, where we're making it isn't probably the most optimal time to make it necessarily, just from a fan interest. Because even just friends of mine that are MCU fans, but, more casual than me, where it's like, don't go to the Thursday night every single time and see it 7 times, but, enjoy the movies. I've seen all of them. Yeah. They're like, Black Widow, like, okay, I mean, maybe it's like almost like a maybe I'll see it. And I think with Black Widow being the first one coming out, that gives Disney being like, hey, we've been starving you for the last 400 days. Here's Black Widow, and everyone will go jump on it like ants on like a piece of sugar, you know? So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. We haven't gotten any word on any pushes for the Disney Plus shows, so they're all still lined up where they are. And so, okay, quickly, right before we end, because we're gonna wrap up here. We're going over.
Yeah, we're running over. We'll wrap this up. No spicy webs.
But hey, guys, I mean, out you listening, watching, like, let us know. How long do you want these to be? How long do you think it could go? Like, would you want to see us do smaller segments? Would you want us to see longer episodes? We're gonna do this probably weekly. So, like, you know, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Like, leave a comment or reach out to us. So, a few projects that are still in development, you know, still planned for Marvel that have not gotten release dates, you know, TBA, is Ant-Man 3, Blade, can't wait, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, waiting on Suicide Squad for that, and then She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel on the Disney Plus side. And they have not been given dates yet. But, you know, they're still happening, and you can see them. I'm sure, like, Ant-Man, Blade, they'll probably come out, I'd say, maybe late 2022. We still got a November 2022 spot open if they want to fill that in. 2023, we might be seeing, I think there could be a team-up movie coming in 2023. That's kind of...
Yeah. I feel like there will be, because you'll have 3 years of storytelling, and then you get there, and you now have a lot of characters. So, and they might even do their first team up. Honestly, could be a series.
Right. So,
you know, like they're saying, Young Avengers movie. I could see a Young Avengers show.
Disney Plus, yeah.
And because it's marketed to the kids. So,
right. And it could be really cool. Like I saw, I think it was either Anthony Mackie or Sebastian Stan talking about Captain Winter Soldier. I forget which one, but they were basically saying how, you know, it does feel like a Marvel movie, but it's fundamentally not. The way they're telling the story, the way they're like the way they're filming it, you know, it's more long-winded. It's shot different, like the pacing of it was different, but but they said at the core it is still Marvel, and that made me so excited because it's gonna be so cool seeing an MCU product in a different form, not just a 2-hour flick, you know?
Exactly. I'm excited because I think we're both remembering the same soundbite or quote, and I think it was, you know, it's Marvel at its core, which is a character study, and it's just longer. It's a longer character study,
right?
And I'm like,
awesome.
You had me at character study.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited, dude, and this has been awesome. This has been great today.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So that, ladies and gentlemen, that was the news!
A very long-winded news today.
Yes, there's lots of news, and most of this was dropped on us yesterday.
Yeah.
So, David, where can everyone find you? Where's your social medias? Where can they follow you and tweet at you and such?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at David J. Thompson, THOMPSON, my last name. It's a Thompson, not there's an H in there. And then on Twitter, it is David Thompson with 2 A's, so DAA, Vid Thompson. And then I think on TikTok, if you want to go check out those, it's also David J. Thompson, like on my Instagram. And yeah, you can check me out there. I post stuff on my stories and tweet stuff all about Marvel and sports and whatever else I care about, and make random TikToks because I'm in quarantine not wanting to do schoolwork. So how about you, Thomas? Where can everybody find you?
On Instagram, you can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word. I will spell it for you, ThomasCarterRochester. If you get confused, that I apologize. It's a lot of letters.
It's not hard. He's a popular guy too. You'll find him.
That's not true. Twitter, you can find me at TRochester749. And on TikTok, I am at Thor, son of Dale, all one word. No hyphens, no spaces. No
Incredible.
Either. Incredible. Yes, it's magic.
Yes.
We thank you all for tuning in here to this podcast of Lights, Thunder, Action.
Yes, thank you.
We will see you next time. And David, would you like to tell everyone what we're going to talk about next time?
Yeah, so next time we're going to be discussing Sonic, right? Is that our plan?
That is correct.
Yeah, so we both saw the new Sonic movie, and we had we both have a lot of thoughts on it, and it's mostly positive, and it's one of those movies where we're big Marvel fans, we're big comic book fans, and I think it kind of, and we're also kids at heart, and I think that movie kind of, you know, encompassed all those different things with the action and the just the fun, loving, like, kid stuff to it, and it'll be a fun conversation. We'll also do the news. We might throw in a fan story, a spicy web, which a spicy web is a hot take from me, and I have plenty of hot takes. You'll learn that over time. And
I have a few, and I don't see how they're hot takes, but everyone else does.
But yeah, and it mostly about Marvel. The hot takes, but you know, it actually covers a lot of different stuff. But yeah, Sonic, that'll be a super fun conversation. We'll have probably, hopefully, maybe a few new news bits to cover, but not as much today. Today it's our first ones, and we had a lot of news dropped on us and a lot of MCU talk. And I'm sure in the future we'll do that MCU rumors, theories podcast, maybe even make that a 2-parter or something. But yeah, make sure to tune in next week. We'll let you know on our socials, you know, what date and all that, because we're kind of fluid right now with our scheduling. But thanks for joining us.
Yes, we thank you all for tuning in. This is, again, Lights, Thunder, Action.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.